Oh, yeah, okay. I'd like to call to order the May 2017 meeting of the Lafayette Common Council. Please stand and rise for our pledge to our nation's flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk please conduct a roll call?
Heidi.
Here.
Clinker.
Here.
Reynolds.
Here.
Campbell.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Allersmeyer.
Here.
Williamson.
Here.
Downing.
Here.
Nargi.
Here.
Quorum present.
Okay, you've received the the minutes for the April 3rd meeting. Are there any corrections or concerns about that?
I move those minutes be approved as communicated.
I second.
Okay, all in favor, we have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign? Okay, presentation of and disposal of claims,
None.
presentation of petitions and communications.
There are no petitions, but I have given you a communication from a memo that you guys all received a copy of, so just to alert you that.
Okay. Reports of the city offices on file in the city clerk's office.
Fleet maintenance, monthly March. Waterworks Department, monthly March. Water Pollution Control Department, monthly March.
Okay, and these are all on file in the clerk's office and may be viewed during regular business hours. Okay, ordinances for second reading. Amended ordinance 2017-11. Mr. Heidi.
I move to hear ordinance number 2017-11.
Mr. Clinker?
Second.
Okay. Are there any questions from the council members concerning this ordinance? Are there any questions or concerns from anybody in the audience concerning this ordinance? Okay, hearing none. Let's have a roll call vote on amended ordinance 2017-11.
Heidi.
Aye.
Clinker.
Aye.
Reynolds.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Allersmeyer.
Aye.
Williamson.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Ordinance passes 8-0.
Okay, great. Next one, ordinance 2017
Mr. Jones come all the way back from Hawaii? For
Yes.
that vote?
Look at, he's smiling too.
Make us jealous.
Okay, ordinance 2017-16.
An ordinance of the Lafayette Common Council approving the City of Lafayette's participation in the State of Indiana Public Employee Deferred Compensation Plan.
Okay, Mr. Brown.
Madam President, I move that we hear and approve ordinance 2017-16 on second reading.
Mrs. Osman? Okay,
Good evening, Kate Murray, Assistant Director of Human Resources. And we're excited for the opportunity to offer the state's Hoosier Start plan to our employees as part of our comprehensive benefit package. Hoosier Start will be an additional benefit for our employees, so we already have a plan with Nationwide. This plan will be in addition to that one, so it will not replace the Nationwide plan.
Are we in the right place? Hey?
Yeah. Second
Okay.
reading.
yeah.
Second reading.
16, deferred compensation plan.
I got that affordable house.
The plan is voluntary, and it will provide our employees an excellent way to save through tax-deferred contributions to their own individual retirement accounts. And Hoosier Start actually offers lower fees than our Nationwide retirement plan. They offer retirement education to our employees. It's a fixed program, and the lowest possible investment costs allows our employees hard-earned dollars to go into their own retirement accounts. The Hoosier Start Plan was custom-built with Hoosier public employees in mind, and we in HR believe the plan will be a great benefit to our existing benefit package that's going to allow us to continue to attract and retain the best employees, and we are hoping for an implementation date of June 1st. Any questions?
Just one. Would it be possible for employees to participate in both plans?
Employees can participate in, Ed, can they participate in two?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. I would have to
Mayor
check.
might know. I didn't.
I think you can, but let's say you have X number of dollars in your current Nationwide 457 account. You can keep those dollars in there. You can't transfer those dollars to the new account. You've got to start with new dollars in this plan. So many people probably will be participating in both accounts.
You can roll over or move your funds in your nationwide plan if you terminate employment at the city. So if you quit or you retire, then you can roll that money over into the Hoosier Start plan.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions from anyone in the audience? Okay, none. Will the clerk conduct a roll call vote on ordinance 2017-16?
Heidi,
Aye.
Clinker.
Aye.
Reynolds.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Allersmeyer.
Aye.
Williamson.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Ordinance passes 8-0.
Okay, ordinances for first reading. Ordinance 2017-17.
An ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance of Tippecanoe County, Indiana, Uzo, Amendment Number 91.
Okay, Mrs. Williamson?
I move for passage of ordinance 2017-17.
Mr. Downing? Okay. Mr. Chosnick, do you want to
Yeah,
speak to that for a second?
Yeah, this amendment is actually being sponsored by the Area Plan Commission staff, and it's to correct a website. If you go to the current website, it gave a wrong website
Yeah.
URL, whatever that is. And
Yeah.
And the more significant part of it is it eliminates the language that prohibited height variances in R3W and R4W because they have been granting them in the past, and they're working on redoing that. So that's the change that was recommended by the Area Plan Commission staff. The Area Plan Commission itself voted unanimously to approve it. Now it's before the City Council.
Could Mr. Downing explain URLs for us?
I don't know.
It's Latin.
I'll pass.
Okay, any other pertinent questions? Any questions from the audience?
Mr. Campbell.
Okay, will the clerk conduct a roll call vote on ordinance 2017-17?
Heidi.
Aye.
Clinker.
Aye.
Reynolds.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Allersmeyer.
Aye.
Williamson.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Ordinance passes 8-0.
Okay, ordinance 2017-18.
An ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance to Tippecanoe County, Indiana, to rezone certain real estate from NB to GB, 3 North Earl Avenue, Margene Village LLC petitioner.
Okay, Mr. Campbell.
I move for passage of ordinance 2017-18
Okay.
on first and final reading.
Okay, Mr. Reynolds?
I second that.
Thank you.
Okay. There we go.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
There it is.
Thank you.
Thanks.
A little helpful for everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Dan Teeter, attorney with Riley, Teeter, and Schreier. I represent the petitioner. Stan Midhofer is the petitioner's representative. He's the owner of the property. He's here this evening. He'd be happy to respond to any questions that you might have. We're requesting rezoning from NB to GB. We received a favorable staff report, a unanimous yes votes from the Area Plan Commission as well for this site. Property is known as Margene Village. It was built sometime, I want to say, in the early 60s. It's at the northeast corner of Earl Avenue and South Street. As the handout, the colored handout shows you, we're surrounded by GB. We do have an NB across the street, the laundromat and the gas station, which is on the west side of Earl. Earl Avenue is predominantly lined with general business with a little bit of industrial that you can see again on the map as well. This council approved a rezoning for that strip center across the street in 2012 from NB to GB. You also approved a similar strip center out in Wea Plaza, which is on 18th Street. Approximately a year or two ago, again, that was from NB to GB as well. So there's a pattern going forward with this type of use. Our strip center is an L-shaped center. It's approximately 24,000 square feet. After the South Street renovation, we're going to have approximately 36 parking spaces in the front. We'll have some parking on the north and some parking behind it as well.
The purpose of our request is to allow us to compete better with our neighbor across the street who is Zone GB. But unlike this neighbor, we have no room for outside storage. We have no intent for outside storage. As you can see, that's why I gave you the second drawing to show you the size of the building and the size of the lot. Their building is a lot different, so there could be outside there. Additionally, there's a lot of GBs surrounding it, so other people can have outside storage. We don't contemplate that. We have no intent on doing that. And again, our site really won't permit that. We rent to a number of different types of retail users. We have a paint store, a bar, a bakery, insurance agency. We need every space that we can, parking space for our tenants. We just want to be able to compete with a neighbor when we do have that particular use, like a veterinarian that comes in that is only allowed in GB, so that we could perhaps get that person in our strip center versus going across the street. We would respectfully request your approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Dan, you have there's an exit off of South Street that enters this area.
Not anymore. We won't after the...
That will be gone
that will be
completely.
gone. Our only entrance will be on Earl.
On Earl.
I tried to, that was my doing there. Rather than going to the architect or the engineer to do it, Dan did it on his own little drawing, so it's not very good, but I tried to show you where that South Street reconstruction would be.
Good.
Okay, any other questions from the council members? Any questions for anybody in the audience?
Rail spur, too.
Okay, hearing none, would the clerk conduct a roll call vote on ordinance 2017-18?
Heidi?
Aye.
Blinker?
Aye.
Reynolds?
Aye.
Campbell?
Aye.
Brown?
Aye.
Allersmeyer? Williamson? Downey?
Aye.
Ordinance passes 8-0.
Okay, next one, 2017-19.
An ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance of Tippecanoe County, Indiana, rezone certain real estate from NB to R1B, southwest quarter of Beck Lane and Limestone Lane, Golden Paws Investment LLC petitioner.
Okay, Mr. Blinker,
I move we hear and approve ordinance 2017-19.
Mr. Heidi?
Second.
Okay,
Thank you.
You're on again.
Again, for the record, Dan Teeter. Alan White's the developer on this project. A request again from NB to R1B. Its property is located at the southwest corner of Beck and Limestone. We received a favorable staff recommendation, unanimous yes approval from the Area Plan Commission as well. This site's been vacant. I guess I want to say first that since 2004, they've tried to do NB uses on the site. Nothing has worked. So the mirror image of this site is directly to the east of us. You recently rezoned that to R1B for a 12-lot R1B single-family subdivision. We're planning on doing the same thing on this site. The R1B across the street is under construction. Those lots have been sold to Mr. Malakas or Malakas Homes already. Also, we're joining the Cobblestone subdivision, which is just directly to the south of us. That's a 99-lot R1B single-family subdivision, and it's fully developed. So there's some interest for this area, which is great, and it's probably going back to what it should have been to begin with, and we would request your approval. Be happy to answer any questions.
any questions from the council members?
Where is the railroad crossing in relation to this property?
Across the street.
Just to the
North of there, a block.
north and
It would
east?
be,
North of the property.
yeah, and
Well, and
across
east.
Beck Lane.
If you go along
East.
Beck, more headed,
You're right, north.
go east on Beck and you're
Yeah,
headed there.
So there's one north and there's one northeast as
East
well,
of
so.
it, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions from anyone in the audience? Okay, hearing none, will the clerk conduct a roll call vote on ordinance 2017-19?
Heidi?
Aye.
Clinker?
Aye.
Reynolds?
Aye.
Campbell?
Aye.
Brown?
Aye.
Allersmeyer?
Aye.
Williamson?
Aye.
Downey?
Aye.
Ordinance passes 8-0.
Okay. You're welcome. Ordinance 2017-20.
An ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance, Tippecanoe County, Indiana, rezone certain real estate from I-3 to GB 301 Sagamore Parkway South, Gaeta petitioners.
Mr. Brown.
Madam President, I move that we hear and approve ordinance 2017-20.
Mrs. Alsmeyer? Second. Okay. Do we have, okay, great.
Hi.
Please state your name, please.
Agatha Gaeta. I'm representing Manolo Renting.
Okay, great.
That's the property that we want to change from Industrial 3 to General Business.
Okay,
All of our neighbors surroundings are GB, and we are just, we have a lot of potential people interested in leasing the property, but then they're turned off by the I-3. We had like a publishing company for like books or something, and so it would just really help to get it to GB. Looking for your approval.
okay. Any questions from any of the council members about this?
Have you any idea, now you said there were people who were interested in this. What are the potential uses for this property?
It's a big warehouse right now. It used to be where the old Hostess bread used to be.
Okay.
So it's a big warehouse. And it's just, you know, the building's available for whatever kind of use they want to rebuild to.
Okay.
You don't plan on tearing the building down then? You're going to use the facility that's there?
That's the plan, to use the facility that's there. Now, if it doesn't get replaced, or we can't find anybody, we plan to fix the outside, you know, and fix it up a bit. But hopefully we'll get somebody to rent it out.
Okay, are there any other questions from council members? Any questions from anybody in the audience? Okay, thank you very much. Would the clerk conduct a roll call vote on ordinance 2017-20?
Heidi?
Aye.
Clinker?
Aye.
Reynolds?
Aye.
Campbell?
Aye.
Brown?
Aye.
Allersmeyer?
Aye.
Williamson?
Aye.
Downing?
Aye.
Ordinance passes 8-0.
Ordinance 2017-21.
An ordinance creating Lafayette Bicycle and Pedestrian Citizen Advisory Committee.
Okay, Mrs. Williamson?
I move for passage of ordinance 2017-21.
Mr. Downing?
Second.
Okay.
Hi, Margie Deverall, Economic Development Department. This is, ordinance is to form a bike and pedestrian advisory committee, and has been coming on for a number of years. It's recommended in the bicycle pedestrian master plan, and many of the people who helped during that master planning process, it was felt that if there was an advisory committee would be formed, that they could continue to advise and make recommendations to the city for improvements for bicycles and pedestrians. So while they worked on that for a year, the plan was adopted in 2015, and shortly after the adoption, nearly the same group of people started meeting after there was a bicycle crash on Harrison Bridge. And so for the last 2 years, that group has been meeting, and from that meeting came the Bicycle and Pedestrian Safety Awareness Program that we're working on right now with Butler, Fearman, and Seifert. So again, the same people continue to meet, and so putting this advisory committee into place will, formalize their activities. And I would say one of the things under duties that I think best describes is that it will serve as citizens as a forum and discussion to make recommendations and improvements to the community to make it safer for bikes and pedestrians. So,
Okay, any
questions
from anyone on the council?
Margie, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask if you could share with the public how often you'll meet, and how do they join the committee if they would like to be on the committee?
in the committee, it's set up that there are 7 members. They're all appointed by the mayor, but it lists out that there would be someone from the Economic Development Department to be a staff liaison. to support the group, a designee from the Public Works Office, and then to have someone from a local bike club, from a running club, from the Mayor's Youth Council, and 2 other appointees by the mayor to get a good cross-section. And at this time, they would meet at least 4 times a year, but it would be up to the committee once they meet. I mean, for example, if the committee decided they wanted to take on a project, an education project, and it would move along better, faster if they met monthly, they could choose to do that. But they'll decide, when and where they're going to meet, and those meetings will be advertised and open to the public.
Okay.
I guess my question is to the mayor primarily. We have a master plan of trails and things. Is that correct, sir? How will that be changed?
I don't know that it will necessarily be changed. I mean, it may
No.
be as the community continues to grow, different development comes in, different streets become heavier with traffic or maybe lighter with traffic, the way we mark them. And if we find a better route, this group will just simply advise. If we actually change that master plan, we would come back to the council because you guys approve it. So there's just a lot of things, people that bike every day or people like Cindy that run every day that view things differently than maybe someone like myself, and I just think it would be helpful for them to continue to give input as we look at how we design our roads and our trails and our bike lanes and how we make our intersections safe. And working with as you saw, there was a representative there for the Public Works Office, so as we look at engineering things, just getting that type of input.
So we would have to approve those changes if they come in a form of recommendations from the trails?
Well, let's say if you wanted, a road that we designated was going to be a bike lane, and we were going to say, okay, that road no longer is going to be a bike lane road, we're going to make it this road over here because of something. I don't know if you'd have to formally vote, but we would certainly come back and bring it to your attention and make sure the council was comfortable with it and understood why we were doing that. I don't know if you have to actually vote to change that into that plan.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from council? Any questions from the audience? All right. Would the clerk please conduct a roll call vote on ordinance 2017-21?
Heidi?
Aye.
Clinker?
Aye.
Reynolds?
Aye.
Campbell?
Aye.
Brown?
Aye.
Allersmeyer?
Aye.
Williamson?
Aye.
Downing?
Aye.
Ordinance passes 8-0.
Okay, now we're on to resolutions. Resolution 2017-07.
A resolution established a complete streets policy for the city of Lafayette.
Okay, Mr. Campbell.
I move for passage of Resolution 2017-7
And Mr.
on first and final reading.
Okay, Mr. Reynolds.
A second.
Okay. We'll speak to that one too, please.
Sure. So the complete streets policy, as it's written up in this resolution, is essentially taken from the complete street policy that was passed by the Area Plan Commission and adopted into their transportation plan. The difference is that the projects that were affected by that policy are those that receive federal aid dollars. So by passing this resolution for a local complete streets policy, it would also include projects that were completely funded by local dollars. So,
Questions from council on this resolution? Any questions from the audience? Okay, will the clerk conduct a roll call vote on Resolution 2017-07?
Heidi?
Aye.
Clinker?
Aye.
Reynolds?
Aye.
Campbell?
Aye.
Brown?
Aye.
Allersmeyer?
Aye.
Williamson?
Aye.
Downing?
Aye.
Resolution passes 8-0.
Okay, Resolution 2017-08.
A resolution declaring the designation of certain real estate as an economic revitalization area, Lafayette Bank and Trust as trustee for Edith Flanagan Trust.
Mr. Clinker
I move we hear Resolution 2017-08.
and Mr. Heidi.
Second.
Okay.
Good evening, Dennis Carson, Economic Development Director. This resolution is to establish an economic revitalization area, or ERA, for this property, which is better known as the Carr property. It's located just north of Haggerty Lane, north of SIA. And again, this is the first of two steps that will make it eligible for tax abatement. So it does not guarantee tax abatement on here, but it does make it eligible for tax abatement. This is one of the prime sites that we have for industrial attraction, and this will make it more competitive, more advantageous for those attraction and those people that we're trying to get to that site. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, questions from council? Any questions from the audience?
I do have, is this zone date, what's the zoning on this at the present?
It's zoned industrial, I-3.
Oh, it is industrial, okay, thanks.
I3, okay.
Have we had anybody sniffing around yet?
We've had people sniffing around, but nobody firm yet.
Mr. Carson, got a question? That's right across from the hospital, right? Have they been notified? Are they good with it, or
It's
no input?
No, it's right north of SIA.
Oh, this is Haggerty, not McCarty.
Yeah.
I need glasses.
Yeah, by Haggerty.
Sorry. I was looking. That's a whole block, yeah. I got it, yep. I just saw, I thought I saw McCarty on it, but my eyes. If you see, it's
out that way. It's a mile away.
I need your
Bring your
cheaters.
glasses next meeting. Yeah. Okay, any other questions on this resolution? Okay, will the clerk conduct a roll call vote on Resolution 2017-8?
Heidi?
Aye.
Clinker?
Aye.
Reynolds?
Aye.
Campbell?
Aye.
Brown?
Aye.
Ollismeyer?
Aye.
Williamson?
Aye.
Downing?
Aye.
Resolution passes 8-0.
Okay, and we also need to set a public hearing for this resolution for the June 5th meeting. Mr. Downing?
So moved.
Okay. Mrs. Williamson?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
What time would you like that, Mr. Dunn? What time are you available? 7:01.
6:31.
6:31,
Uh,
okay.
31.
6:31.
Old habits die hard.
Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we got that done. Okay. Next one, Resolution 2017-09.
A resolution declaring the designation of certain real estate as an economic revitalization area, approving the application for tax abatement, GIO3 LLC Real Estate.
Okay, Mr. Campbell.
I move for passage of Resolution 2017-9 on first and final reading.
And Mr. Reynolds.
I'd second.
Okay.
What I'm going to request the council do is to table this resolution at time uncertain. There's some issues that have come up that have to be worked out. And the company's been notified, and we'd like it tabled until those issues are resolved.
Okay.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
And a second. All, okay. We have a move for the table and a second, okay. Do we do a roll call on that?
I think you can just do unanimous.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign? Okay, we will table that one. Okay. Resolution 2017-10.
A resolution to approve the City of Lafayette Community Development Block Grant and Lafayette Housing Consortium Home Program Annual Action Plan for 2017.
Okay, Mr. Brown.
Madam President, I move that we hear and approve Resolution 2017-10.
Second.
Okay. And
Michelle Reynolds, Lafayette Housing Authority, also
Okay.
the Federal Grant Administrator for the City of Lafayette. So I'm here to request approval for the annual resolution for home and CDBG funds from HUD, which is the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for project year 17, which begins in July. As part of this action plan, the citizen participation plan has been modified. We had a change in fair housing language. We used to reference the AI, which is the analysis of impediments. It now has to be AFFH, which is affirmatively furthering fair housing. So I don't know if anybody has any questions about that. It's just just a change that we had to put in the citizen participation plan.
How does this amount compare with previous years?
It goes down every year, but we hover around 600,000.
It goes down for what reason? Is there a set standard, or is it just?
No, there's entitlement cities, so as more entitlements come in, there's only one pot of money, so Some people get, some communities get less. So the more come in, but then we have some that fall off because they either can't meet, their population is going down. So that's one of the major criteria for an entitlement city.
Thank you.
So the two approvals that I'm requesting, the first one is we are an entitlement city. We receive CDBG money, which is Community Development Block Grant. We did hold 2 public meetings. CDBG, it funds social services, public facility improvements, public infrastructure, removal of unsafe buildings, and housing and administration. So numbers, the project year 17 estimated allocation, because we don't have a budget yet, is 580,815, and the prior year reallocation is 14,287. Total CDBG funds are 595,102. Also, the City of Lafayette is part of the Lafayette Housing Consortium, and that includes Lafayette, West Lafayette, the town of Battleground, and the unincorporated areas of Tippecanoe County. We had 2 public meetings, and then the consortium approved the action plan. So for home funds, it funds homeownership activities like Habitat, Faith, those new construction buildings, also rehab. We do a tenant-based rental assistance program with domestic violence shelter. The PY17 home estimated allocation, again, because we don't have a budget, 635,834. The prior year reallocation is 69,791 with a total of 705,625. And I respectfully request approval of the resolution.
Okay, are there any questions from the council members? Any questions from anyone in the audience? Okay, will the clerk conduct a roll call vote for Resolution 2017-10?
Heidi?
Aye.
Clinker?
Aye.
Reynolds?
Aye.
Campbell?
Aye.
Brown?
Aye.
Allersmeyer?
Aye.
Williamson?
Aye.
Downing?
Aye.
Resolution passes 8-0.
Okay, reports of special committees. Any reports? Reports by the mayor? Nope. Miscellaneous or new business?
You're not going to tell us anything about Japan or anything? Okay.
I think he's tired.
Still have jet lag?
We'll see how it unfolds.
Got jet lag.
Okay, reports of councilmen. Any reports? Okay, now's the time for public comment. If anyone from the audience would like to speak, please come up and state your name and address. You're limited to 3 minutes, and please be respectful and courteous of everyone.
All right, I got my timer on. I'm Rose Kazmarowski. My address is 334 South 26th Street in Lafayette. And I'm an active member of Bicycle Lafayette and wanted to come up and say thank you all for passing the ordinance and the resolution today. And we're kicking off Bike Month, and so that's a great way to start the month of May. I want to make sure that you are invited to possibly experience riding a bike this month as well. As we talked about, the committee will be formed to contribute to the decisions as they relate to the people who are users. So you all could become users as well. We have 3 events coming up in May, especially the middle of the month. There's Cyclofem, which is on Sunday, May 14th at 9 a.m., meeting at Virtuous. It's really to encourage families to ride together, and especially women to ride. And then on the Wednesday that week, in the evening, there's something called the Ride of Silence, which is a national ride that acknowledges injuries that people have experienced as they travel on bicycles, whether it was death or injury. And that's at 5 p.m., meeting at Relay Plaza. And then finally on that Friday, there's Bike to Work Day, which is an annual event that we have, and we'll convene on the John T. Myers Bridge with proclamations to be read at 8 a.m. And as it relates to that, I am wondering if the council members or any other decision makers in the city could come up with a solution to accessing the John T. Myers Bridge for bicycles while the construction continues near the plaza and up the ramp toward the bridge. The chain link fence keeps fluctuating back and forth, and that makes it very difficult to get your bicycle from 2nd Street up to the bridge. So my suggestion would be if there could be a temporary ramp of some sort put up on the stairs near the bike share station that could connect to the ramp that goes towards the construction. And then it's a bit of a it's always a maze every morning to navigate that space. We're looking forward to it being done, but we definitely would love a little more access at this point as well. So in conclusion, I just want to say thank you again for all of your support in this community. I'm glad to be here, and happy spring. Thanks.
Thank you for your comments. Okay. Anyone else would like to speak?
My name's Steve Barton. I live at 1601 Sherwood Drive. There's been issues in the past involving my residents from tall grass, an individual that works for the city of Lafayette saying my yard is trashy. It's mowed every week. I have pictures today. I'm just going to go down a quick list of things I found today. We've had an issue with speeding. Speed limit's 20 miles an hour. It is posted. There's cars that always park the wrong way. I've gotten in trouble for that before. There's cars sitting with expired tags all over the neighborhood, and I only did half of the neighborhood this evening. Fire hydrants are being blocked. I'm a former volunteer firefighter. That's a big issue. I mean, it's blocked by mailboxes, cars. I know how difficult it is, how wide those hoses come out. And I mean, that's a safety issue even in the future because you never know when something's going to happen. To go with cars sitting, I had 2 trucks that I had to get rid of because I was threatened fines and or jail time if I did not get rid of them. The neighbor's car has sat there for quite a while. Somebody called on it the other day. They said there's air in tires and it's good to go. There's a blue car at the other end on the corner. It's sat there as long as we've lived there. And there's a white car with expired tags. It's been there at least 3 years, has not moved. Street signs, we have to go with speeding. We've requested new signs. They are facing the street. It's on a blind corner. An officer was out last night. He addressed the issue. He even suggested a speed bump be put in. I know that's been brought up in the past. And in the sewage drain, every time it rains, all us neighbors are having to go out and clean the sewage drain because the grass and leaves and whatnot collect in the drain. The street has actually been flooded, and it floods up halfway into some of the yards.
Could you give us your address again, the street?
1601 Sherwood Drive.
Once again, 1601 Sherwood Drive?
Yes.
There you go.
I don't know where that is. Any comments from any of the council people? I don't know where Sherwood is.
As Mr. Johnson, Cecil Johnson, takes care of ordinance and enforcement and all that, has he been notified?
He was notified at one time, yes.
One time when?
That was a couple months ago, but he came out and looked at the signs, and
Well, but I think it's a couple of months, maybe you ought to try to contact him about coming back.
we've tried, and we keep getting told that you can't, there's nothing they can do about the signs.
Well, I was talking about the cars and so forth.
It's,
They have to have a license on them.
I understand that, but it's an ongoing issue that
What he's issued, I talked about that 2 months ago.
Could you state your name, sir?
John Barton, 1601 Sherwood Drive, Lafayette. What he's talking about, I've issued that 2 months ago. And what I was told down here, talked to the chief of police about my concerns. The mayor even said that a lot of it was out of jurisdiction because it wasn't a heavily traveled area. I hate to say it, a residential area is a heavily traveled area. Regardless of how many people live in that area, it's a heavily traveled area. You got people coming in and out of work. You got kids going to school and all that. In the summertime, you got kids playing and all that. One car coming down, it's a heavily traveled area for street signs, speed limits and all that. And what he's talking about, it has been brought up. Johnson was aware of it and all that. He came out 3 times. I talked to him down here once. and he came out twice. So that's 3 times. He's looked at the issues. He looked at my grass when a cop came and told me my yard looked like shit. Get it cut, otherwise I'm gonna have to pay a $75 fine. My yard gets cut every week. And to have a cop sit there and tell me that, that's bull.
This is your part.
Like I said,
Yes.
it's nonsense. It's plain, simple nonsense. And I've said 2 months ago, if things don't get done, I will take it up with Indianapolis. And I'm on the verge of taking it up with Indianapolis because I'm tired of the sewage backing up into my front yard. I've got a house on each side of me that it backs up on, or 4 houses that it backs up on my side of the street. On the other side of the street, there's 4 houses that it backs up on, because there's sewage on each, across from each other. They do not get blowed out, no. I had sewage problems when I first moved in. The city came out, inspected everything, they said they're coming back at the end of the month to blow everything out. Nobody's come out. I've been there 3 years. What's a person got to do? Nothing's being done. What he's talked about is continue from what I talked about 2 months ago. I'm on the verge of going to Indianapolis. I will get something done because the governor will listen, the senators will listen, the congressmen will listen, everybody will listen. If that doesn't happen, guess what? The media will get notified. I'm sure everybody will want to have that Lafayette picture all over the papers, all over the news. I don't want that. This is my house, my town. I grew up here. I don't want to have to go through that, but you guys are forcing me. I'm giving you guys a chance.
So have you talked to engineering? Is that the,
Yes, I talked to the engineer.
We'll look into it, but I'm gonna defend myself. I'm not sure what he's talking about. I never said to him that it was out of jurisdictional because it was not a heavily traveled area. That conversation did not.
2 months ago, you sat right there and said on the signs, it's not a heavily traveled area, so therefore we cannot authorize the signs. 2 months ago, you sat right there, go ahead and call me a liar. I know what you said. I've got other people.
We have
Is it
signs
3
on-
minutes
on
up?
streets where there's only a few
I know
houses
that.
all over town.
I know that.
That's not
The
a
sign,
policy.
what I,
Is
what,
the 3 minutes up?
yes.
All right.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. Please be respectful and courteous of everyone. Okay, anybody else would like to speak?
Perry Barbie, 3700 Redbud Avenue. First, I'd like to say welcome back, Mayor, from your trip.
Thank you.
I want to remind everyone at home about the clean sweeps coming up in 20 days. May 20th is a Saturday. Meet at Claymore Park. Get your teams, your scouts, either Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, your church group, whatever, or you just your family to join you. It's free and it's helps the community out. We have a lot of nice things going around in the community for the spring. There's a lot of nice art displays they're making to make a community even more nicer and beautiful. There's something else I was going to say, but I can't remember. I want to leave it at a positive note with all the ruckus that's going on. I want to wish all you mothers, like you do every year, Happy Mother's Day.
That's what I thought you were
You
thinking.
guys all take care.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments from the audience?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, adjournment.